Hello, this is Mark Satterfield, and welcome to the Velvet Rope Playbook. Tonight's chapter, The Curiosity Trigger, How a Story Turns Skepticism into Buy-in. In Montecito, there's a guy they call Spencer Wren. He doesn't advertise, doesn't network, doesn't even have a business card. But somehow, he's the one handling art acquisitions for half the hedge fund managers on the West Coast. There's a Rothko in a private vault, a Brâncuși about to go on the market. Spencer already knows about it. Now, Spencer doesn't pitch. He never says, here's what I've got. Here's why you should care. Instead, he tells you about a Japanese investor who traded a Warhol for a vineyard, or the rumor about a Kooning that vanished during a divorce and reappeared on a yacht in Majorca. By the time he's done talking, people are begging to know what he's actually offering. That's the power of stories. It turns skepticism into curiosity, and in the world of high net worth clients, curiosity is currency. And if you want to master the kind of storytelling that draws affluent clients towards you instead of chasing them with sales tactics that don't work, head over to getwealthyclients.com and grab your copy of Velvet Rope Story Selling. This isn't branding fluff. This is a tactical field guide for professionals who want to stop pitching and start pulling. That's getwealthyclients.com. Now, most people do it backwards. They lead with proof, with credentials, with logic. They say things like, we've helped hundreds of clients. We're fiduciaries. We have over 25 years of experience. And what does the wealthy client hear? Noise. The same pitch they've heard 100 times. They don't lean in. They lean out. But if you start with a story, something shifts. You're not convincing anymore. You're intriguing. And that's where the power is. There's a woman in Aspen, Eliza Kane. She runs a boutique design studio that specializes in legacy properties. Her first 5 years in business? Tough. Her portfolio was solid, but the clients weren't coming. She was putting together these beautiful decks full of before and after shots, 3D renderings, sustainability metrics, and still getting ghosted. Then she tried something different. Instead of pitching, she opened with a story. We had one client, former tech guy, who bought a glass house up on the ridge. Problem was, his 10-year-old daughter wouldn't sleep at night. Said it felt like she was floating above the world. So we added this curved walnut ceiling over her room. Not structural, just psychological. Made it feel grounded, like it belonged to the earth again. Her prospective client? Hooked. Didn't even ask about pricing because the story flipped the script. What could have been a skeptical prove-it-to-me conversation turned into tell me more. So if you want more of that reaction, tell me more, instead of let me think about it, go grab your copy of the Velvet Rope Story Selling at getwealthyclients.com. You'll learn how to use narrative to bypass mental resistance, establish instant credibility, and draw elite clients in before the pitch even starts. That's getwealthyclients.com. So let's break this down. Why does a story work so well with the affluent? Because affluent buyers are professionally skeptical. They've seen the pitch. They've been overpromised. They've learned to listen with crossed arms. So if you lead with logic, you walk straight into their defenses. But story, it sneaks past the gate. It signals that you're not trying to sell them. You're giving them something to engage with. And when they engage, they invest emotionally, mentally, energetically. And once they're curious, you've won. Because now you're not pushing, they're pulling. One more story before we wrap. Spencer, the art guy in Montecito, once sat down with a Russian businessman who was notoriously difficult. Wouldn't respond to pitches, didn't trust anyone, dismissed even the biggest names in the business. Spencer doesn't bring a briefcase, doesn't bring a proposal. He just asks, you ever hear about the deal in Geneva where a Basque was swapped for 4 apartments sight unseen? The guy laughs, says no. Spencer tells the whole tale, makes it feel like a spy novel, and then just sits there, quiet. A few beats later, the client says, "Show me what you got." No pitch, no deck, no sales language, just curiosity cultivated like a fine wine. That's how the elite buy, and that's how you need to sell, with a story, with suggestion, with the kind of presence that says, "I don't need to convince you. I just need to make you want to learn more." This is Mark Satterfield. Thanks for listening to this chapter of the Velvet Rope Playbook. I'll be back with you soon for more, but until then, bye for now.